In the vast, endless expanse of space, two young alien girls, Zara and Lyra, were on an adventure. They were from a peaceful planet far away, where their people loved to explore and discover new things. Space was full of mystery, and they had spent many months traveling through galaxies that no one had seen in centuries. But they had no idea that today they would make the most extraordinary discovery of their lives. Zara was the braver of the two, always the one to suggest new paths and take risks. Lyra, on the other hand, was cautious, preferring to follow rules and avoid trouble. But today, even Lyra was excited. They had come across something no one had ever seen before. As they flew their ship deeper into space, the readings on their screen started to change. There was a planet ahead, but it wasn't like the others they had seen. It was dark, silent, and filled with an eerie stillness. Zara's eyes widened when the planet appeared on their display. It was Earth, a world that had been destroyed thousands of years ago. "What happened here?" Lyra asked, her voice trembling with a mix of curiosity and fear. Zara stared at the planet. "I don't know, but we're going to find out." The girls knew the history. They had been taught about Earth in their school lessons. They had heard that long ago, a powerful race called the humans lived there. They had been strong, smart, and full of life. But the Galactic Council had destroyed Earth. No one knew why, only that the planet was left in ruins. The humans were wiped out, or so everyone believed. But as their ship flew closer, Zara and Lyra saw something strange. The planet wasn't as empty as it seemed. There were structures hidden beneath the surface, covered by layers of dust and debris. They found what looked like an old, abandoned base buried deep underground. It was untouched by time, as if it had been waiting for someone to find it. Zara felt a rush of excitement. "We have to go down there. Let's see what's hidden." Lyra hesitated. "Is it safe? What if there are dangers?" Zara smiled. "There's only one way to find out." After a few minutes of searching, they landed their ship near the entrance to the underground base. It was dark and silent, and the air felt cold. Zara grabbed a small flashlight and led the way inside. The walls were covered in strange symbols, and old machines lined the hallways. The whole place looked abandoned, but there was something oddly familiar about it. They walked deeper into the base, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. Everything was covered in dust, as if no one had touched it in centuries. But as they rounded a corner, they saw something that made their hearts race. There were large chambers, each one filled with what appeared to be sleeping humans. The girls stopped in their tracks. Zara's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are these humans?" Lyra stared at the rows of Cryo sleep chambers, their glass walls fogged up with age. The humans inside looked so peaceful, as if they were just sleeping. But Zara knew better. These humans had been in Cryo sleep for thousands of years. "They're alive," Zara whispered, almost to herself. "But how? I thought Earth was destroyed." Lyra stepped forward cautiously, her mind racing with questions. Why were they put into sleep? Why haven't they woken up? Zara moved closer to the nearest chamber. Inside, a man was lying perfectly still. His face was peaceful, but he looked ancient. He was dressed in strange clothes, and a small device on his wrist seemed to be glowing faintly. "This is incredible," Lyra said softly. "We've found humans, but why are they here?" The two girls couldn't stop staring at the chambers. There were hundreds of them, each one holding a human, just waiting to wake up. Zara's mind raced with possibilities. What if these humans were part of something bigger? What if they had a plan to survive and return? "We need to wake them up," Zara said, her voice filled with excitement. "We need to know what happened to Earth." Lyra frowned. "Are you sure? What if they're dangerous? What if they don't even remember who they are?" But Zara wasn't listening. She was already working on the controls to open the Cryo chamber. "We have to take the chance. The galaxy needs to know what really happened. These humans could be the key to everything." As the Cryo chamber door slowly opened with a hiss, the girls took a step back. The air in the chamber was cold, and the man inside began to stir. His eyes fluttered open, and for a moment he looked confused. The human slowly sat up, looking around at his surroundings. He blinked a few times, as if trying to make sense of what was happening. Then his eyes locked onto Zara and Lyra, and his face filled with shock. "Who are you?" he asked in a hoarse voice. "Where am I?" Zara took a deep breath, knowing that this moment would change everything. "You're on Earth. You've been asleep for a long time." The man stared at her, disbelief in his eyes. "Earth? But Earth, it was destroyed." Zara nodded. "That's what we were taught too. But you're here. You're alive. And we need to know what happened." As the man tried to stand up, the girls realized that their journey had just begun. They had found humans after all these years, and now they had to learn the truth about the lost planet, its people, and the powerful force that had wiped them out. The future of the galaxy had just changed. The humans were alive, and their story was far from over. The man slowly stood up, his body stiff and weak from years of sleep. He looked at Zara and Lyra, confusion filling his eyes. His surroundings were unfamiliar, and for a moment, he didn't know where he was or how he got there. Zara took a step forward, her heart racing. "Are you all right? Can you remember your name?" The man blinked, rubbing his head as if trying to clear the fog from his mind. I'm Captain Ryan," he said slowly. I was part of the Earth Defense Force, but how long have I been asleep?" Zara and Lyra exchanged a quick glance. They had been taught in their history lessons that Earth had been destroyed long ago. But now, standing before them was a human, alive and awake after thousands of years. It was impossible, yet here he was. "You've been asleep for 800,000 years," Zara said quietly, her voice filled with awe. "The Galactic Council destroyed Earth, but somehow you survived." Captain Ryan's face went pale. His hand shook as he reached for his uniform, but it was no use. His uniform had long since worn away, leaving only a few scraps of fabric. He glanced around, trying to make sense of everything, but his mind was struggling to catch up. "The Galactic Council," he whispered. "But Earth was supposed to be destroyed. All of us were supposed to be gone." Lyra took a step forward, her voice soft but curious. "But you're not gone. You're here. You're alive." Captain Ryan looked at the two girls, his eyes full of disbelief. "How is that even possible? I thought Earth was gone. I thought my people were wiped out. I thought I was the last one left." Zara nodded, her thoughts racing. "We don't know what happened, but we found you, and we found others too. There are more humans in Cryo sleep, hundreds of them, maybe even more." Captain Ryan's eyes widened. "More? Are they alive too?" "We think so," Lyra answered. "We don't know how they survived, but we're here to help you." Captain Ryan took a deep breath, trying to steady his emotions. For so long, he had believed that humanity's fight had been lost, that Earth had been destroyed, and the survivors, if any, were scattered across the galaxy. But now, standing before him were two alien girls, and they were offering him hope, something he hadn't felt in centuries. "How did this happen?" Captain Ryan asked, his voice cracking. "Why didn't we wake up sooner? Why are we still here?" Zara and Lyra exchanged a look. They didn't have all the answers, but they knew one thing for sure. Something big had happened to Earth, and the Galactic Council was responsible. It was up to Captain Ryan to fill in the blanks. "There's something we need to know," Zara said, her tone serious. "What happened to Earth? Why did the Galactic Council destroy it?" Captain Ryan took a deep breath and began to speak. "We were at war. The humans were at war with the Galactic Council. They were afraid of us, afraid of what we could become. Earth was a powerful world, full of strong, intelligent people. We developed technology that could rival anything in the galaxy. The Council couldn't control us, so they decided to destroy us. Zara and Lyra listened closely as Captain Ryan told his story. He spoke of how Earth had once been a thriving, powerful planet. He told them about the inventions and technologies humanity had created, ways to travel faster than light, to terraform entire planets, and to conquer the most dangerous threats in the galaxy. But the Council had feared this power, and they didn't want humanity to rise up against them. So they sent their fleet. Captain Ryan continued, his voice growing colder. They bombarded Earth, destroyed our cities, our military, everything. They thought they had wiped us out for good. But before the final strike, we launched a plan. We sent some of us into cryo sleep, hoping to survive, hoping that one day we could wake up and rebuild. Zara and Lyra were stunned. They had no idea the history of Earth was so complex, so full of pain and loss. They had always been taught that humans were a myth, a forgotten race who had never returned. But now, they were hearing the truth, a truth they had never imagined. But why now? Lyra asked, her voice trembling. Why are we waking up now, after so many years? Captain Ryan shook his head, as if the question burned him. I don't know. We were meant to wake up when the time was right. Maybe the galaxy is ready to hear our story. Or maybe the Council thinks they've finished us off. Maybe they don't know we're still here. Zara's mind raced with this new information. The Galactic Council had done everything they could to erase humanity, but they had failed. Captain Ryan and the others were alive, and they had the power to change everything. You have a chance to take back your world, Zara said quietly. We can help you wake up the others. We can fight back. Captain Ryan looked at the two girls, his heart swelling with a mix of fear and hope. You're willing to help us? We are, Lyra said, her voice firm. We'll help you bring back the others and learn what happened to Earth. We'll help you fight the Council. Captain Ryan nodded slowly, a fire igniting in his eyes. He had waited for this moment for so long, and now the galaxy was finally giving him the chance to reclaim everything that had been lost. We'll need to move quickly, Captain Ryan said, standing tall. The Council won't give up easily, but together we can make them regret ever destroying Earth. With that, the mission was clear. The future of humanity and the galaxy was about to change forever. Captain Ryan stood at the center of the cryo chamber, his thoughts racing. He had never imagined this moment would come, waking up after 800,000 years of sleep, only to find that humanity still had a chance. But now that he knew the truth about Earth's destruction, the weight of it all was too much to bear. Zara and Lyra watched him, knowing that the answers they sought were hidden deep within his memories. The story of what had happened to Earth, to humanity, was far from over. And Captain Ryan was the key to unlocking the truth. We need to wake up the others, Zara said, her voice steady. We can't do this alone. Captain Ryan nodded, his face serious. You're right. The cryo chambers are spread across this base. There are hundreds of us in here. I'll need your help to get them all out. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes full of determination. We'll help you, Captain. We're in this together. They started working quickly. Zara and Lyra used the control panels to activate the cryo chambers, one by one. The process was slow, but each time a chamber opened, another human awoke from their deep sleep. As more humans began to stir, confusion filled the air. Each one looked around, not understanding where they were or how they had ended up in this place. One by one, Captain Ryan guided them, telling them the story of what had happened to Earth. Many were shocked, their faces pale as they tried to process the fact that the world they once knew had been destroyed. But there was something more troubling, a secret that Ryan had kept hidden from them all this time, a truth that he hadn't been ready to face. As the last chamber opened, a woman stepped out, her eyes sharp and focused. She was different from the others, stronger, with a sense of purpose that made Captain Ryan's heart skip a beat. Captain, she said, her voice low and commanding. I knew you'd come back. I just didn't think it would be this soon. Captain Ryan blinked, surprised. Alicia, how? How did you know? Alicia smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. I knew the Cryo sleep wouldn't last forever. The moment Earth fell, I started preparing. I knew someone would need to lead when we woke up, and it looks like that someone is you. Zara and Lyra exchanged confused glances. Who is she? Zara asked quietly. She's Alicia, Captain Ryan answered. She was my second in command during the war. She knows as much about Earth's secrets as I do. Alicia nodded, her eyes never leaving Ryan. We don't have much time. The Galactic Council will have their eyes on us soon. They won't let us rebuild without a fight. Captain Ryan's heart sank. He had hoped for a peaceful awakening, for a chance to rebuild humanity without the threat of war hanging over them. But Alicia's words reminded him of the harsh truth. We've waited too long for peace, Ryan said softly. But I'm not sure we can win this fight. Alicia placed a hand on his shoulder, her voice firm. We don't have a choice. We never did. The Council will never let us return to Earth. We need to be ready to fight back. Zara and Lyra listened closely, understanding the gravity of what was at stake. The humans weren't just waking up. They were waking up to a war they thought they had lost. A war that would determine whether they could ever return to their home planet, or whether they would be wiped out once again. Ryan turned to the group of humans who had just awoken. Listen up, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. We don't know how long we've been asleep, but we're alive. The Council thought they had destroyed us, but they were wrong. We are here, and we are going to fight. The humans exchanged uncertain glances, but Ryan's words gave them hope. Hope that had been buried deep inside them for so long. They had been given a second chance, and now they had to make the most of it. Zara, Lyra, Captain Ryan said, turning to the two alien girls. We need to know everything about the Council. Their plans, their fleets, everything. If we're going to stand a chance, we need to be prepared. Zara nodded. We can help with that. We've been studying the Galactic Council's movements for years. We know where their fleets are located, and we can use that information to our advantage. Lyra stepped forward, her voice full of determination. We've already come this far. We won't stop now. Captain Ryan looked at them, gratitude filling his eyes. Thank you. We couldn't do this without you. Alicia placed her hand on Ryan's arm. We've all lost something. But together, we can take back what was stolen from us. We'll fight for Earth, for humanity, and for our future. The truth had been uncovered. The Earth was not gone, and the humans were not lost. The fight for their survival had only just begun. And together, they would awaken the past and reclaim the future. The atmosphere in the command center was tense. Captain Ryan, Alicia, Zara, and Lyra stood in front of a large map, surrounded by the humans they had awakened. The map showed the locations of key Galactic Council fleets, but something felt off. The more Ryan studied it, the more questions he had. He could feel that something was hidden beneath the surface, something he hadn't yet uncovered. We need to know everything about the Council, Ryan said, his voice firm. Their plans, their weapons, and most importantly, their weaknesses. Alicia nodded, but her face was serious. We've been preparing for a long time, but I fear there's more to this than we realized. The Council is hiding something from us. Zara stepped forward, pointing to a part of the map. This is where we lost contact with Earth's defense forces. The Council destroyed most of our military bases here, but there's something strange about this area. It's like they're keeping it locked down on purpose. Lyra raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I don't know, Zara said, shaking her head. But it's the only place on the map we can't get any information about. It's like it doesn't exist. Captain Ryan's eyes narrowed. That's where we need to go. The others exchanged looks, unsure of what to think. But why there? Alicia asked, her voice low. If the Council's fleet is there, it's likely well protected. We could lose everything just trying to find out what they're hiding. Ryan turned to face her, his eyes filled with determination. "We can't afford to let fear stop us. If there's something the Council is hiding, we need to know what it is. We have to take that risk." Zara and Lyra agreed, but even they could sense the danger. The Council had destroyed Earth's defenses and sent their fleets across the galaxy to ensure humanity would never rise again. They had been silent for so long. What if the truth was far worse than they imagined? Ryan turned to the humans in the room. "Everyone, listen up. We're heading to this location," he said, pointing to the marked spot on the map. "Get your gear ready. We'll need everything we've got." The group moved quickly, each person preparing in silence. Alicia stood beside Ryan as he prepared for the mission. "Do you think we're ready for this?" she asked quietly. Ryan paused, looking at the map again. "I don't know, but we don't have a choice. We can't keep hiding forever. The truth is out there, and we need to find it." The ship they were boarding was small but fast. It was one of the few ships left from Earth's military, a relic from the old days. Zara and Lyra helped guide them as the ship launched from the base, heading toward the hidden zone marked on the map. The journey was long, and the tension only grew as they approached their destination. The area was isolated, surrounded by vast stretches of empty space. As they neared the coordinates, Zora's voice came over the ship's intercom. "We're picking up strange readings," she said, her voice tinged with concern. "There's something there, but it's not showing up on any of our scanners. It's like it's cloaked." Ryan felt his heart race. "Prepare for anything," he ordered. "We don't know what we're dealing with." The ship flew on, the tension building as they crossed into the unknown. As they entered the cloaked area, the ship's systems began to malfunction. Lights flickered, and the ship's controls became sluggish. "This isn't just a cloaking device," Lyra said, her voice sharp. "This is something more advanced. We need to be careful." Ryan gritted his teeth. "Stay focused. We're almost there." Suddenly, a massive shadow appeared ahead of them. It was a structure, hidden in plain sight, so large that it seemed to stretch across the whole sector. The ship's sensors couldn't make sense of it. It was as if the structure itself was manipulating the very fabric of space around it. "There it is," Ryan whispered, awe and fear mixing in his voice. "This is what the Council was hiding." They landed the ship near the massive structure, and as they stepped out, the silence was almost suffocating. The ground beneath them was cold, metallic, and unnatural. There were no signs of life. No guards, no ships, nothing. Just a towering complex that seemed to go on forever. Alicia and Ryan led the group as they cautiously moved forward. The air was thick with tension, each step echoing through the empty space. As they neared the entrance, a large door slid open on its own, revealing a dark hallway. Inside, the walls were covered in strange symbols, alien writing that none of them could understand. But as they ventured deeper, they began to notice something even more unsettling. The walls seemed to pulse, as if alive. "This place feels wrong," Zora muttered. "What is this?" Ryan's eyes narrowed as he examined the symbols. "I don't know, but I have a feeling this is where the Council's true plans were born. This is what they didn't want us to find." As they moved further into the structure, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. Something was hidden here, something powerful, and they were about to discover a secret that would change everything. Ryan reached for his weapon, his instincts telling him they were not alone. The truth, hidden for so long, was waiting for them to uncover it. And when they did, it would be more than they could ever imagine. The deep hum of the massive structure vibrated beneath their feet as Captain Ryan and his team made their way down the cold, dark hallway. The further they moved, the heavier the air became, thick with a sense of unease. The walls seemed to pulse, alive with energy, as if the place itself was watching them. The strange symbols carved into the walls glowed faintly, casting eerie shadows that stretched across the floor. Ryan motioned for everyone to be silent. They had no idea what they were walking into, but something told him they weren't alone. The hair on the back of his neck stood on end as his instincts screamed for caution. "We need to be careful," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Stay close. We don't know what we're dealing with here." Alicia, walking beside him, kept her eyes sharp. "Agreed. This place feels unnatural." Zara and Lyra, at the back of the group, exchanged worried looks. Lyra's hand hovered near her weapon. "There's something out there, something hiding in the shadows," she said quietly, her voice tense. "I can feel it." Ryan nodded. He trusted Lyra's instincts. She was right. They weren't alone. As they moved deeper into the structure, the silence around them grew more suffocating. Every footstep echoed through the hallways, yet there was no sign of life. No guards, no sounds, not even a hint of movement. The place was like a tomb, abandoned but for the energy that filled the air. Suddenly, a loud metallic clank echoed from behind them. Ryan spun around, his heart pounding in his chest. His hand reached for his weapon, but before he could react, a voice rang out from the shadows. "Stop right there." The voice was cold, commanding, and robotic. It came from all around them, bouncing off the walls as if it was coming from an unseen speaker. It made the hairs on Ryan's neck stand up even more. "I knew you would come," the voice continued. "You should have stayed away." From the shadows ahead, a figure stepped into view. It was tall and humanoid, dressed in dark armor that reflected the dim light of the strange symbols. Its face was hidden behind a mask, but Ryan could feel the presence of something far more dangerous than any of them had expected. "Who are you?" Ryan demanded, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "What is this place?" The figure's head tilted slightly, almost as if it were considering Ryan's words. Then, without a word, it raised its hand, and the walls around them began to glow brighter, casting the hallway in a harsh, blinding light. The ground beneath them hummed to life as well, vibrating with a sudden force. It was like the whole structure was waking up. Alicia took a step forward, her eyes fixed on the figure. "What do you want from us?" The figure didn't answer. Instead, it lifted its other hand, and suddenly, the air around them seemed to change. A faint, high-pitched noise filled their ears, growing louder with each passing second. It felt like their minds were being pulled in different directions, disorienting them. Ryan gripped his head, his vision blurring. He could barely keep his balance as the noise grew louder, almost unbearable. "Get down," he shouted, pushing Alicia to the ground as the pressure around them increased. The figure's hand dropped, and the noise stopped. The strange force around them faded, but the damage was done. Everyone was on the floor, gasping for breath, their minds spinning. "We don't have time for this," the figure said, its voice cold and distant. "The Council's orders are clear. You should never have come here." Ryan pushed himself to his feet, his mind still reeling from the force they had just experienced. "What are you talking about? Who are you?" The figure stepped closer, its mask showing no emotion. "I am the Guardian. I protect the secrets of the Council, and you will not leave this place alive." Ryan's heart sank. The Guardian. It was clear now that this was no ordinary soldier. This was a being designed to protect something far more valuable than they had imagined. Something that the Council was willing to kill to keep hidden. Alicia stood, her eyes fierce. "We're not leaving without the truth. Whatever you're protecting, we will find it." The Guardian didn't move for a moment. Then, slowly, it raised its hand again. "You think you can defeat me? You think you can stop the Council?" Ryan gripped his weapon tightly. "We fought worse than you," he said through gritted teeth. "We won't back down." Alicia turned to the others. "We need to work together. There's more at stake than just us. The future of humanity is on the line." Zara and Lyra nodded, ready to fight. They weren't going to let the Guardian stand in their way. They had come this far, and they weren't going to stop now. The Guardian's eyes glowed faintly under the mask, and it stepped forward, its movements smooth and calculated. "Then prepare yourselves," it said, its voice full of menace. You will never leave this place. The Council's secrets will remain hidden, no matter what you do." The fight was about to begin. Ryan's heart raced, but his resolve was stronger than ever. He knew that this was just the beginning. They had uncovered the first layer of the Council's secret, and now it was time to fight for the truth. But what awaited them inside this hidden structure was far more dangerous than they could have imagined. And as the Guardian prepared to strike, they realized that the true battle for Earth's future was only just beginning. The Guardian stepped forward, its eyes glowing with an eerie light beneath the mask. It was fast, its movements smooth and deadly. Ryan's heart pounded as he realized just how dangerous this being was. But he refused to back down. Not now. Not after everything they had been through. "We're not afraid of you," Ryan said, his voice steady, despite the tension building in the air. "We're going to stop you, no matter what it takes." The Guardian didn't respond. Instead, it raised its hand, and the air around them seemed to ripple with power. In an instant, the ground beneath them cracked open, sending shockwaves through the hallway. The walls hummed with energy, and strange lights flickered across the floor. Ryan quickly motioned for everyone to move. "Get out of the way." Alicia, Zara, and Lyra sprinted to the side, narrowly avoiding the blast of energy that shot from the Guardian's hand. The force was so strong that the walls shook, sending debris falling from the ceiling. But the team was quick, and they stayed on their feet, ready to fight back. "We need to fight smarter," Alicia said, her voice sharp. "We can't just rush in headfirst. We need to find a weakness." Ryan nodded. He knew she was right. The Guardian wasn't just powerful, it was intelligent. This wasn't going to be an easy fight, but they had come too far to turn back now. "Lyra, Zora," Ryan said, turning to the two women. "We need to create a distraction. We'll figure out how to get past it." Lyra and Zara nodded and moved into position. As the Guardian advanced, Ryan knew they didn't have much time. The Guardian's power was immense, but Ryan had seen humanity face overwhelming odds before and always rise above them. This was no different. They were the last hope for Earth, and they couldn't fail now. The Guardian raised its hand again, and a wave of energy shot toward them. But just as it was about to hit, Zara and Lyra acted. They fired at the ceiling, causing a shower of debris to rain down. The Guardian paused, distracted by the noise and confusion. "Now," Ryan shouted. He and Alicia rushed forward, using the cover of the debris to get closer to the Guardian. Ryan aimed his weapon, his heart racing as he took a shot. The blast hit the Guardian's armor, but it barely seemed to faze it. The Guardian's movements were too quick, too precise. Alicia fired next, targeting the Guardian's legs. This time, the blast made contact, and the Guardian stumbled slightly. But it recovered quickly, launching another blast of energy toward them. The air crackled with power as Ryan and Alicia scrambled to avoid the blast. It was clear now. They couldn't defeat the Guardian in a direct fight. But that didn't mean they were out of options. The Guardian might be powerful, but they had something it didn't: the will to fight for their world. "We need to think like humans," Ryan muttered under his breath. "We're not going to beat it head-on. We need to outsmart it." Zara and Lyra, moving quickly, provided more distractions, forcing the Guardian to split its attention. Each moment of distraction was a small victory, a chance for them to find a weakness. Ryan's mind raced. Then it hit him. "The power core," he shouted. "It's weak in the center. That's where its power is focused." Alicia's eyes lit up with understanding. "If we can hit it in the core, we can shut it down." The team moved swiftly, knowing they had only one shot at this. They had to strike fast and hit the Guardian in its most vulnerable spot. Zara and Lyra continued to distract the Guardian, drawing its attention away from Ryan and Alicia as they moved into position. Ryan and Alicia worked together, synchronizing their movements. The Guardian turned to face Zara, and that was when Ryan made his move. He aimed for the center of the Guardian's armor, where the energy was most concentrated. With a deep breath, he fired. The blast hit the power core, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then, the Guardian let out a screech, its body convulsing as the energy inside it began to overload. The once impenetrable armor began to crack, and the Guardian stumbled backward, its movements slowing. "Now, Alicia," Ryan shouted. Alicia didn't hesitate. She fired one last shot directly at the weak point in the Guardian's armor, and with a burst of energy, the Guardian collapsed to the ground, its lights flickering out. The team stood frozen for a moment, staring at the fallen Guardian. They had done it. Against all odds, they had taken down one of the most powerful beings they had ever encountered. But the victory was bittersweet. The structure around them still hummed with power, and they knew the fight was far from over. The Guardian may have been defeated, but the Council's secrets were still hidden in this dark place. "We can't stop now," Ryan said, his voice filled with determination. "This is just the beginning. We've taken down one enemy, but the Council still holds the fate of humanity in its hands. We need to keep moving forward." Alicia nodded. "We will. Together." As they moved deeper into the hidden structure, the weight of their mission pressed heavily on their shoulders. But they had learned something crucial. Humans could rise, even when faced with the most impossible odds. The Council had underestimated them, and now they would see what humanity was truly capable of. The Guardian was defeated. The team stood around its fallen body, their breaths coming heavy as the dust settled in the quiet, glowing hallway. It felt like a dream, one they had fought for, worked toward, and finally achieved. But Ryan knew this victory was just a small step. The real battle was still ahead. Ryan wiped his brow and looked at his team. Alicia, Zara, and Lyra were all breathing hard but smiling, the kind of smile that came from knowing they had just done the impossible. Together, they had taken down a force that seemed invincible. But Ryan's eyes were on the dark corridor ahead. "We've got to keep moving. This place isn't going to wait for us." Alicia nodded. "Right, but we can't ignore what just happened. We just took down a Guardian. That's not something anyone expected. We still have a lot to do," Ryan said, his voice steady. "The Council has been hiding things for far too long, and now we need to expose them. For Earth, for humanity." Zora's eyes flicked to the Guardian's body, her face serious. "We've learned a lot already. There's more here than we could have imagined." Lyra, ever vigilant, glanced around the hallway. "We can't let our guard down. The Council may have more surprises waiting for us." Ryan's mind was already racing. The battle with the Guardian was only one part of their mission. They had come to find the truth, to bring the Council's secrets to light. And they were getting closer. "Let's move out," Ryan said, motioning forward. "This isn't over." The team moved quickly, their steps echoing in the quiet halls as they continued deeper into the structure. The walls around them were covered with strange symbols, some of which Ryan had seen before in old human texts, but they were distorted here, twisted in ways that made them feel alien. Yet they all seemed to lead in one direction, toward the heart of the facility. Hours passed, or maybe it was days. Time felt strange in this place, but Ryan didn't care. Every step brought them closer to the answers they sought. They couldn't afford to waste time. Eventually, they'd reached the center of the structure. It was a vast, open chamber filled with an ancient humming energy. At the center of the room stood a large glowing sphere, its light pulsing, breathing almost, as if it was alive. It was surrounded by strange machines, ones that hummed with power. Ryan's eyes widened as he saw the device that seemed to control it. This is what they were hiding," Alicia whispered, awe in her voice. "It's incredible." Ryan nodded, his heart pounding. He knew they had found something huge. But what was it? What was the Council hiding in this place? He stepped forward, cautiously approaching the glowing sphere. As he did, the machines around them began to activate, their lights flickering as if responding to his presence. A deep voice, not unlike the Guardians, filled the room. "You shouldn't be here," it said, cold and robotic. "This is the last warning." Ryan's hand tightened on his weapon, but Alicia placed a hand on his shoulder. "We've come too far to turn back now," she said softly. "We need to see what this is." The voice didn't answer, but the sphere continued to pulse with energy. Ryan could feel the weight of something important hanging in the air. He stepped closer, reaching out slowly. The moment his fingers touched the surface of the sphere, everything changed. The world around them seemed to blur, then sharpen. Images flashed before his eyes. Ancient history, glimpses of Earth's past, and the hidden truth of what had happened to their planet. The Council had not just destroyed Earth, they had erased it from history itself. The sphere was a record of humanity's existence, a memory bank of Earth's long-lost civilization. "This is it," Ryan breathed, his voice filled with disbelief. "The truth. The Council. They tried to bury us. They erased us from the stars." Alicia stepped up beside him, her eyes wide with realization. "All of humanity's history, it's right here. They kept it hidden, like we never existed." Ryan nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of the revelation. But this discovery was more than just a truth. It was a weapon that could change everything. The Council had thought they could erase humanity from the universe, but they had underestimated humanity's will to survive. The people of Earth had a future. They were not just a lost memory. "We can use this," Ryan said, turning to his team. "This is the key to everything. The Council's power, it's built on lies. We need to expose this. We need to show the galaxy who we really are." Lyra's eyes gleamed with determination. "And we will. We're not going to let them erase us again." Zara stepped forward, placing a hand on the sphere. "It's time to take back what's ours." Ryan smiled, his resolve stronger than ever. "Yes, the future of humanity is in our hands now." The truth was out there, and the team had it. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity wasn't gone, wasn't forgotten. They were alive, and they were ready to rise again. As Ryan and his team turned to leave the chamber, they knew their journey was far from over. But the future was no longer uncertain. The truth had been uncovered, and now it was up to them to show the galaxy that humanity's story wasn't finished. It was just beginning.